is muted. There we go. Okay. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Black Dragon Tavern with your hosts,
Deacon.
And I'm Dante, and we're glad you could join us here. And now that we've got the mic hot, now we can see that it's actually picking up the audio. So hopefully you're able to hear us okay. If you can, give us a shout in the text box and let us know. Or if you can't hear us and you just see our mouths moving, give us a shout in the text box and let us know. Other than that, we're glad you were able to stop in. We hope you have fun while you watch us fumble around for what to actually talk about for the next hour here. But we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about the show and talking about ourselves and what we're into. We're not going to bore you with all those details. And then we're going to jump over to the workbench. Right around 8:45 or so, we'll switch over. We're going to take a 15-minute intermission while we get set up and move the mic and everything and put it up on the workbench. And we'll have some pretty cool projects that we're working on today for our respective games that we play. So, Deacon, here we are. We're live now.
Yeah. That's a very good question. You want to introduce yourself a bit more?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so my nickname is Dante. My actual name is Ephraim. And for those of you watching who know me, I'm going to spare you the juicy details. But for those who are just joining for the first time, I'm a veteran gamer. I've been gaming since I was 12. I won't tell you how old I am now, but it's well over 40 years at this point. And I run everything from D&D 5.0, 5th edition to I have a homebrew that I've been running for the last 40 years. That's based off of like old school D&D and like a whole bunch of other stuff. And I can talk about that later on. We'll actually do a segment on that. Also, just in the last year or so, I got into Warhammer thanks to Deacon. So occasionally we break out the minis on the table and play rounds of Warhammer and play everything in between. Card games, board games, you name it. And if you want to know more specifics, you can shoot me a question in the chat. Otherwise, I'm just going to blank out because, obviously we've got this big gaming shelf behind us here full of board games and card games, and it's hard to name them all off. Not that you want to hear me go through that list.
I'm Deacon, and I play a lot of stuff. I play a lot of video games, and as far as tabletop things go, I play a lot of Warhammer, and I play D&D, and a lot of tabletop RPGs that he runs. I also play card games and board games, anything in between, really. So,
one of the things we hope to do in future broadcasts is bring you video live stream from what we call the Battle Zone, and that's basically our game room here, the gaming table. And we'll be doing everything from tabletop minis games, Warhammer 40K, board games, card games. In fact, tomorrow night we'll be doing another stream from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Central. So you can join us back here again, Twitch TV/Black Dragon Tavern. And hopefully we'll get the camera set up right, and we're going to play Zombies tomorrow. It's a
super
board
fun.
game. Yeah, it is super fun. We haven't played that in ages. I'm looking forward to that. So that'll be something. And then we're going to sort of alternate. So every other episode we'll bring you, we'll be working at the workbench or we'll be doing the battle zone. And the first part of it will be fireside chat. As you can see, we've got the fire going here. Not that we need to do that in July, but it's there's no heat on it. It's an electric fireplace. So anyway, otherwise we'd have the fire marshals here banging on our door. But anyway, the whole thing about the setup of this is we thought it'd be kind of fun just to sit around and talk about things that we saw during the week that stuck out at us, that we thought were funny or interesting, whether that's pop culture or gaming news or entertainment or whatever strikes our fancy. Really, because like we say in the show description, it's a show about everything and nothing. So, stick around and maybe you'll get a laugh or two out of this. And if we make you laugh, do us a favor and hit that follow button and we'd appreciate it. Do I have anything to say? I was waiting for you to jump in and take over.
Yeah, I'm blank, man.
So I took notes. I took notes this week, and I'm not going to harp on you for that. But I just find it easier to have stuff to talk about. And I did see one thing that I thought was really funny. So I've been reading a lot of like Gizmodo lately and IO9 and
See that?
what's the other one? Otaku. They're
Kotaku?
Yeah, they're affiliated with I
Yeah,
think it's Otaku,
Kotaku.
Kotaku, and Butt Stallion. Yeah, Butt Stallion.
What's down?
So there was a game video trailer for Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. It's a new game coming out in 2022. It's a little ways away, but it's coming out for Xbox. And it said basically like the trailer was this big fantasy setup, and featuring Her Royal Highness Butt Stallion. Butt Stallion is basically I just thought it was a hilarious name. It's a unicorn basically. So it looks pretty cool. It looks like it's what's funny was what struck me as being an old guy, the end credit scene when they're getting ready to fade out is she's riding on a dragon and she's got like a machine gun up in the air and it looks just like a direct borrow of the heavy metal cover where
Oh yeah,
Tarna's riding the
Tarna.
Terrakian. So that was kind of cool. It was pretty nostalgic for me, and I just laughed pretty hard. But if
That's
you get a
pretty cool.
chance, you got to pull that up. Watch the trailer, the gameplay trailer, or the teaser trailer for Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Another thing I saw this week that I thought you might be interested in is IO9 did, or yeah, I guess it was IO9. They did a sci-fi and fantasy book release list. So
Oh
they're
yeah,
like
I
a
heard
list of
about
50
that.
51 books that are coming out, and that are already some of them are already out as of like the beginning of July. All through July, all these wonderful books are gonna be coming out, and I jotted down notes on about six of them because there were a couple that jumped out and sounded like you might be interested in them, but.
Okay.
But there's some really cool stuff. One of them that I wanted to take a look at it was called City of Iron and Dust by J.P. Oakes.
Sounds cool.
And basically, it's a city torn by war between goblins and the Fey folk, and I know how much you love the Fey folk. And it also involves a princess, a drug dealer, and an old soldier as they seek out this coveted drug that restores Fey magic. So it sounds like
Sounds
maybe
like a fun time.
yeah, so almost like a goblin post-apocalyptic where the Fey magic has been either like diminished or dissipated, and then they're trying to get this drug that restores it. So
It's kind of a cool concept.
yeah, yeah, I just like the mashup of all the different character types in there,
Yeah, be a fun
and
party to run D&D.
yeah, that would goblins and Fey.
No, no, like a soldier, a princess, and a drug dealer.
Yeah, there you go. Like, didn't I just see that at Walmart the other day? No, okay, maybe
Yep.
not. Okay, anyway, another one was called "We Have Always Been Here." It's coming out. Well, so let me back up just a step here. Um, City of Iron and Dust actually came out on July 6th,
Oh, it did.
so that's out. That should be available now. And this next one, We Have Always Been Here, also had a release date of July 6th. And the author on that, I hope I don't butcher her name, I believe is Lena Nguyen. 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 And essentially, it's the story of this psychologist aboard this space Hulk. Essentially, it's a
Oh,
long
that's
haul
cool.
voyage, space voyage, and she befriends the androids who are part of the crew. And she actually prefers their company to the humans that are enlisted on the ship. And but the dynamics changed pretty drastically when things start to go sideways, and the ship breaks down, and they're trapped aboard. So that sort of like pushes the limits of testing everybody's psycho- psyche and stuff, and their mental well
Yeah.
being. So that's another one that sounded really interesting to me as we talk about all these people getting ready to go into space and whatnot.
Well, Space Hulks are always fun. Speaking of, we could play that. That would be a
Yeah,
cool one to
yeah,
break
we
out.
could do. In case people are wondering, Deacon's looking up at the top of the hutch over here, where we've got several like
Whole
really
bunch
old
of
school
games.
games. So, what else was there? Well,
News
I've got
about.
there's like a couple
Yeah,
more, but if you go ahead, what were you gonna
I
say?
was gonna say there's news about the new Assassin's Creed game. It's Infinity. Apparently, it's gonna take place over a couple different time periods and settings, which would be pretty cool. Apparently, he read that Charlemagne is gonna be in there, so that'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, I guess you were telling me about that earlier, and I think that'd be a really interesting article to look up just to sort of try to get some balance on what they're actually going to do. Because like I said, the article I read before was talking about taking place in the age of Charlemagne, and it sounds like I also read the one that I read a similar article to the one that you mentioned that talks about Infinity, where it's going to be a big open world and have multiple different what am I trying to think of here, multiple areas that you can adventure in. So
Yeah,
maybe like Elder Scrolls Online or something to that effect.
that would be cool.
Yeah, I don't know as a part of the franchise though how that would work, or if it's just a standalone. If they're going to try to do something
Yeah.
like that, Elder Scrolls Online. I don't know. Never been a big fan of that because a lot of times it's a lot of hack and slash,
Yeah.
and you miss out on sort of like some of the.
Although it does feel like the newer Assassin's Creed games have been doing that already. The last few since, what is it, Origins, the Egyptian one,
Yeah,
have been more like kind of hack and slash focused rather than like
that's true.
assassins.
they're going more towards like that role playing element where you've got choices in your dialogue that you can make, and it affects your
Yeah.
the subsequent adventures that you have based on the choices that you make.
Well,
So
I think you can have the choices in the dialogue, but also have the gameplay be more stealth oriented as well, like in the older games, rather than just big
brute
open,
force.
yeah, fights and like what they added with the weapon system and finding new gear. It's kind of like it's like a looter now where you're constantly going forward to find better gear.
Right, to upgrade to and whatnot. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, the minute that it started changing into, like look at all the big weapons and stuff that we can do now and all the combat, I started losing sort of interest. They lost a lot of the really good subtext that they had running in the earlier games, the conspiracy theory with
the
Abstergo,
Isu. Oh yeah,
and they started replacing that with the Isu, but they didn't. It's like they left you hanging. They almost didn't give you enough on that. Now there are some folks online that are really going hardcore in their research. They've apparently decrypted the Isu language based on symbols that were in one of the games.
that'd be kind of cool to look at.
With Layla. I'm trying to think of which one it was. Odyssey, maybe. Maybe it was even before that, but I didn't go like full on nerdcore into
Yeah.
that, but because
Still,
that's a lot.
Cool.
Yeah.
Still a neat project.
Yep. But yeah, it'd be great if they just gave us a little more meat and bones with the Isu and talked about the real purpose of what's going on there. Like I like the way that they brought in the whole thing about the Industrial Revolution early on in the series, and
Yeah.
it sort of talked about how basically the Illuminati, for lack of a better term, were capitalizing off of humans as workforce, and that's their moneymaker. So,
Yep.
but I guess we'll see. And that one's not due out for, well, at least from what I read, that one's not due out for at least another year or two.
Oh, more than that.
You think more than that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a couple years, I think, is what I read.
It's probably like our the one we're really waiting for, Diablo, the next installment
Yeah,
of Diablo.
4. Although they have been putting out more and more news about that, so maybe within the next year. That'd be cool.
Well, if you call an occasional dribble or video news, yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah, it's more than they put out
But
in the past.
yeah, that's true. That's true. They did have a pretty wicked trailer for that, so that's one I'm really looking forward to. So you just mentioned that earlier too, like we should fire up Diablo 3
Yeah,
and play
that'd be
some more of
fun.
that online. Yeah, maybe we can get some of our friends together.
Yeah,
So anybody out there who's watching who knows us, hit us up, and if you're up for a game of Diablo 3, if you're bored one weekend or whatever, or one
Totally.
evening, do it, and we'll make it happen. So I don't know. This is kind of a weird aside, but I don't know if anybody in the Twitch audience can see this, but every once in a while I'm seeing a weird flash, a horizontal flash across the video here, and I'm not sure if it's one of our cords that's connected or if we've got some weird electrical spikes. Hopefully that's not it. But I guess we'll see when this comes out on the video. Once this is done on the VOD, we'll see if it got recorded or not. So what else? What else happened this week that you found interesting or funny?
Not a whole lot. At least not that I can think of right off the top of my head. There's the news about Assassin's Creed, and haven't really been paying that much attention to stuff this week, so.
No movie trailers or anything?
No, apparently the new Black Widow movie is out and it's doing alright. So.
Yeah, I saw one of the trailers for that, and I don't know. I'd kind of go see it. The whole thing going back into the theaters now, though, with the
Yeah.
this Delta variant that's kind of creeping me out a little bit. But we'll see, we'll see. Technically, I mean, I guess like this country hasn't gone through the second wave of COVID. We just had two big spikes, but it's fine. Who's that says that?
That's Chris. He
That's
says.
Oh, so you saw it. You thought it was pretty cool, huh? That's good. That's good. I know I can take your word for it as a trusted source. So maybe we will check that out and go see that. I do admittedly I do miss going to the movies. I do kind of miss
Yeah.
that. So maybe we'll hunker down in our hazmat suits and oxygen
Pay for
tanks
some overpriced popcorn.
and pay for some overpriced popcorn, smuggle in some Clarbruin or something. Yeah. What else? I really, other than that, I really haven't seen any other trailers that have caught my eye. Oh, other than the Green Knight. So I don't know. I can't remember when that one's coming out, but that's one that I was really
Yeah.
excited about.
Oh, Green Knight. I'm thinking of what's the guy? He had like the ring. It's green. He had a ring.
Oh,
Uh,
the Green Lantern.
Yeah, the Green Lantern. That's what I was thinking of at first.
No,
Yeah.
no, this is an Arthurian tale based on the tales of Gawain.
I have seen that.
And it's his trials and tribulations. So it looks like it's just going to be an amazing movie, but I really hope that it's not just eye candy in the trailer and it turns out to have like
Yeah.
no plot, no character development, or anything like that. So
Oh, so he hasn't seen Black Widow, but he had a link to an article about getting paid to GM, which that is pretty cool. That'd be a cool
Oh,
way to make
okay.
money on the side.
yeah, okay. My eyes are old and tired. Let's see.
Link might have gotten blocked out.
Oh yeah,
so.
okay. My tears too, huh? I
Yep.
hear you. It happens. I have my glasses here, but I don't know if they'll get glare on them or not from the thing. But when I really need them, I'll pop them on. But so the idea of the show, again, we were kicking around ideas, and Deacon loves the game. He's always video gaming, and I said, why don't you stream? I see all these people that are streaming. He even has a friend that he went to high school with that streams. He's got his own Twitch channel, and I asked him how that was going, and I guess he's taken off. I guess he's getting a little bit of traction here and there, and it takes a while to build up a following, and that's understandable. If you have good content, people are going to want to stick around and hear what you have to say. I know personality plays a large part of it too. So I asked Deacon. I said, I can't believe, how come you don't stream? You seem like you would love that. Like you're always on there. You're always talking about the games you play. It's true. You're always telling me funny stories. Like all through the week, he's telling me funny stuff about these games that he plays.
I've always just been too lazy to start.
Okay, yeah, there's that too. But then I just sort of got hooked on the idea of starting up a stream here, and I thought it would be kind of cool if we started up a stream, because I'll tell you, between the two of us, you might not know it now from me just blathering on like this, but filling up an hour with chat is difficult. I can tell you, I'm already feeling it. But the conversations that we have during the week are absolutely hilarious. Some of the stories he told me about, the 40K fandom and the orcs and all the... I mean, he has me in tears. I mean, there are times that I'm literally just like almost spitting out my soda, laughing so hard at some of the funny shit he says. And it's just, I hope we could impart that into the show as we get a little more comfortable with this. And we talked about having a little bit of a format. We didn't really want to do like a full-on talk show.
Yeah.
But maybe in future, maybe we'll have guests. We certainly have enough friends that do streams that we could bring in. We plan on doing raids at some point. You know, again, like we know people who stream, and I'm sort of working on some behind the scenes details to make that happen, and maybe some co-hosting here and there. But again, these first couple of streams are mostly to get us used to being on camera and being able to fill that space with things that hopefully people will find interesting, and not pick our bodily orifices and stuff like that on camera. Anyway, or leave the mic hot when we're off camera, going, "Oh shit, we blew that," you know. So, yeah, I mean, there's that.
Yeah, it is really hard to fill up an hour with just talking, especially when it feels like you're talking at a screen, not really like talking to somebody. So if you're just sitting watching the stream, please drop a chat message. We'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, and even if you're just playing this in the background to fill the time up, that's great too, because we do the same thing. And in a little while, we're going to have like a totally chill segment coming up, like I said, from the workbench. And we'll be switching over. We have a couple of cameras hooked up there, and that's going to be a little looser. Again, there's no real, we don't have a script, we don't have a format, and you know, we'll talk about that kind of stuff. What is your favorite board game? Each of you.
Board game. That's really hard to answer because I honestly don't know if I could say a favorite. Do you want to go first while I think? Or do you just know too many to think?
Sure. Well, yeah, kind of that. Like, sure, yeah. I'll tell you, we've played a lot of games. Just as an aside, and I'm not going to do a plug here. Maybe later on in the future I will. But I own and run a game store online, and so I've been doing that since 16?
16, yeah.
Yeah, so going on 4 years now. Going on 5 years.
Yeah.
In fact, like in August, 5 years.
Yep.
And so as a retail or e-tail game store owner, I've had a lot of exposure to just more board games and card games and dice games than I can count. But my personal favorites are usually pretty fun and fast. Like I like things like Murder of Crows. It's a really simple card game that there's almost nothing to it. And basically the goal is to you trade cards off back and forth. And I say trade loosely because really it's kind of a game of like give and take, where like the cards you play can affect your opponent. You can take cards from them, or you can force them to play cards. Every card has a letter, so it's basically like MURDER. So you have to spell out the word murder. There are even wild cards. So if you don't have a letter, like D, for example, you fill in a wild card, and that can be your D. So when you spell out murder, every card has a different character on it, and it builds a little story of how the murder was committed, who committed it, and it's pretty fun. Replay value on it it's okay. I'd say it's okay. Like, but you know, for seasoned gamers, if you 2 or 3 hands of that, and you're probably ready to move on. Yeah. But it is a good party game. It's good for people who are not super heavy into like the deep geeky games. So I like that. Sushi Go. I know it might sound silly, yeah, but it's fun. Really I like fun. It. I like zombies. Like I said, I'm really excited that we're going to break that out, or we're going to at least try to play that tomorrow. I haven't played that.
Quite some time. A couple of years, I think.
Wasabi.
Oh, Wasabi,
and we only play that like once a year, if that, you know. Basically, it's a board game where like you get ingredients out of the pantry, and then you get recipe cards, and you're trying to make sushi recipes and score the most points. And it's pretty fun. It's got a lot of replay value on it. You know, then there are old school things like I love Space Hulk. I love the old Space Hulk because it has the mission book and all that.
Plus all of the minis you get in there and the terrain. Or like board.
Yep. Yeah, lots of cool stuff. Lots of cool toys come with it.
So you, I think, checked off a whole bunch of ones that I was probably going to say. So I really like smaller and faster games. Sushi Go is really fun. I've always liked that one. Wasabi, I also like that one. Thinking about them now, I like a lot of food related games. So Lord of the Fries.
Oh yeah,
that was
that's
pretty
fun.
What is it? You're like a zombie running a fast food restaurant or a Mexican restaurant if you have the expansion pack, and then some older games too, like Space Hulk is a big one. Zombies, Hero Quest is really fun. We haven't played that in a while. Yeah. We could break that out sometime. Memoir 44, I really like.
Yeah, that's a good quick World War II
What
game.
else? Land, Sea, and Air was a pretty fun one. That's also a World War II game. It's more of like a deck builder, I think. Would you
Yeah,
describe
I
as
think we
that?
need to see if they have an expansion for that. I thought they came out with
Yeah.
an expansion for that, but that's really quick and fun.
Um.
Those Days of Wonder games, though, going back to
Yeah.
Memoir 44, I like the other one I like is Mystery of the Abbey, too.
Mystery of the Abbey is
Yeah.
fun. We have to play that again sometime.
It's a good sleuthing board game if you're looking
It's
for
like
something to
Clue,
do.
but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Some of the mechanics are a little strange to get used to at first, like the direction of play changes counterclockwise or anti-clockwise, as you would say if you're in the UK. Um, but other than that, it's just a solid game where you really have to use your head and your sleuthing skills to try to figure out who committed the murder
Yeah.
at the Abbey.
Oh,
Hence the name
yeah.
Mystery of the Abbey.
Suro is fun. I always like playing Suro.
Yeah, that's I gotta thank Peter Lee for turning me on to that one.
Yeah.
That's such a cool game. So chill too.
That
That's what I would call like the lo-fi game of games. The lo-fi version of games. Yeah, super chill.
Yeah. Also, social like card game. Well, all of these social are social games, but more kind of talky games. I really like. Like Cards Against Humanity is really fun
Mm.
if you have the right group. Um,
I can see you're
what
looking
is
at the. What was the other one you got with the two characters? The
Joking Hazard. Yeah.
Joking Hazard. Yeah.
It's the XK. What is it? XKCD
Yeah.
comic.
Yeah.
They made a card game out of that, and it's a lot like Cards Against Humanity. You build a 3-panel comic, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah, there was some pretty raunchy stuff in there, but
Yeah.
it was hilarious. I mean, so, word of caution if you're looking for that one, Joking Hazard. Um, it is a little, it is a mature game. It's
Yeah.
a mature subject matter.
Let's see. Oh, I know. If Suro is the lo-fi game of that, you could always go to the Dark Souls of board games with the Dark Souls board game, which I only played once, and it was just as hard as the video game. But the minis that are in there are really cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we need to
that's
give that
definitely a reason to play it.
we need to give that one another try, I think. Maybe we could do that on one of the streams. We'll do that in
Yeah.
the battle zone. But excuse me, get to know the rules a little bit better for that.
Definitely.
I'm sure, like, because you are a diehard Dark Souls fan and
Yep,
all games that are
totally.
made by
From software.
From Software, right? It's probably going to be easier for you to pick up those rules.
Yeah.
And frankly, I'm surprised you haven't just broken out the minis and primed them and started painting them.
I was gonna do that, and then weather.
40K happened.
Well, not only that, but the weather got too bad for priming, and it was that we got that a couple
Yeah.
of years ago.
Yeah, but it
And,
sat up there for the longest time.
Yeah, and when we did break it out, it was just getting to be winter, so didn't have the right conditions for spraying things.
Yeah. One of the perks of being an e-tailer in the games industry is there's a convention that happens every year. It's a trade convention for people in the industry, and our local games distributor puts it on. So for like 3 days, you get to go and have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and meet up with old friends and people who run game stores all across the country. Sometimes we have people come down from Canada, and I think we've even had people come over from Germany as well, because there's a a very similar convention that goes on over there.
I'd be curious
But-
to go to that one.
Yeah, it'd be kind of fun to go over to Germany for that and the Metal Fest.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's another topic. But so yeah, so one of the perks of going to this convention is that you wind up with a bunch of goodies, and it's really nice
Whole
for
bunch.
yeah, a whole bunch, and it's really awesome for retailers because you get all these sample games that you get to play, and then if they look like they're going to be a smash hit and they're already getting rave reviews and people are waiting for them, you've got something that's going to go flying off your shelf.
Yep.
So, but the kind of downside, if there is a downside, is you wind up sometimes with too much stuff, and you know, run out of shelf space to put it on, or you run out of, you know. So at least for me, like, because my business is all online. So anyway, enough of that. So are you hitting that lull now where you're trying to think of something to say? Yeah, on demand performance is kind of a difficult thing, and the only reason I can keep going like this is I worked a lot in my earlier career with a lot of radio personalities, so I know the whole thing about dead space and dead, you know, the silence, and you just keep it going no matter what, and something will come to you, you know. And on that note, I was gonna go back to this list, Deacon, because I thought some of these were really cool, and I didn't really get a chance to go through other them. I think I mentioned 2 books on the list here that I wrote down.
Oh yeah, books.
There was another one that I don't know how I feel about this. It sounds like pretty, like, I had mixed feelings about it because the main protagonist in this is a boy, a 15-year-old boy. And with the title and the subject matter, I thought, well, that's a little pretentious. Like, why didn't they do this from the perspective of a woman or a teenage girl? And the name of the book is Breeder, and it's by, I'm going to try not to butcher this name, Hani van Rijswijk. And the basic story is it's about a 15-year-old boy who's born into poverty in the dystopian future, where if you're born into poverty, you're designated a breeder, and you can figure out from in there what that means. And you're basically like a baby factory, churning out babies or producing babies to overcome your debt. And then he meets another teen plotting a revolution to take over. So in a way, maybe it's kind of like Mockingjay. What was the name of that series? The Hunger Games.
Hunger Games, yeah.
You know, it kind of had maybe a little bit of that kind of feeling to it in the longer description, and I didn't want to plagiarize the whole description because, you know, that's not good. But, you know, just based on the gist of that, it sounded interesting. Like, I wanted to see... I wasn't so much wrapped up in the idea of the character, the 15-year-old boy, but I wanted to see, like, well, if he's a quote-unquote breeder, you know, how does that impact women in that same dystopian future? And that one comes out on July 13th, so that one's not out yet. But just finishing Mockingjay, huh? You have to tell us what you think of that. I think everybody here in this family, the 3 of us, read all those, and of course we've seen the movies too. And you know, well, you say like, was that disappointment or?
I didn't like the movies as much as I liked the books. I mean, they were good. I wasn't a big fan of them compared to the books.
Yeah, fair enough. That happens a lot in movies. I mean, it's really difficult to find that perfect mix of the perfect screenplay, the right director, the great casting, you know, and then producers who aren't gonna say, let's put a bunch of machine gun toting, you know, fill in the blanks here, driving, you know, SUVs and whatever, right? You know, I mean, so.
Oh, well, Dee just finished reading it. That's cool.
That's cool.
I'd be curious to see what he thinks of that. Did he like it?
Yeah, is he watching over your shoulder? I can just imagine. Yeah.
Yep.
Like or little G popping in there, bouncing up and down behind you. So there was another one called The Freedom Race. And this is by Lucinda Roy. And this one was, again, another sort of dystopian, really, you know, the subject matter is, you know, I guess, like, should give a trigger warning about this. It's basically America suffers a second civil war and relapses into slavery, and slavery is being cultivated as a means to aid the rebuilding, I guess, reformation, you would call it, in parts of the country. And so there's I almost wrote this down. I should have written it down, but there's like a section of the United States called the Disunited States of America or something like that, and I think this is where that takes place. But she sees an opportunity to win her freedom and seizes it, you know, in this great race.
Yeah.
hence the title. That one is also out on July 13th. So that's something to look for. These next two were kind of cool. I thought you might like. I'm gonna try to pick these up. Incidentally, the next one is out on July 13th as well. It's called Swordstone Table. And what's cool about this is they bill it as Old Legends, New Voices. And it's edited by Swapna Krishna and Jen Northington. And it's bills itself as a, quote, gender-bent, race-bent, LGBTQIA plus inclusive retelling of Arthurian tales. So Camelot, Knights of the Round Table, and the whole, Arthur.
You're about to say Knights of the Dinner Table.
I was going to say Knights of the Dinner Table, Jolly Blackburn, if you're out there and you happen to see this. Hats off to you for like brain farming me all these years with KODT. I had to look at what I wrote here because I was like, that R looks like an awful lot like a D. So, again, that's probably out of this world. I mean, like Lancelot and Guinevere, and I wonder how they're going to treat that and what the characters will be like, and if they do anything with the names or change the names, or they just, where they go from there. And the other one, the last one that I wrote down, because there were 51 of them, and there were so many to choose from, but these are the ones that really struck a chord with me. It's called Far Out, Recent Queer Science Fiction and Fantasy, edited by Paula Guran, Guran. It's a decade's worth, so it's an anthology, a decade's worth of speculative fiction by LGBTQIA plus authors. That one's not out till July 27th. So we'll keep an eye out for that towards the end of the month, and then
sounds like it could be interesting.
Yeah, maybe hit our local bookstore for that.
Yeah.
For all of these, actually, I'm excited that after reading this list, I got inspired again to want to start reading again in the evenings.
That's cool.
So, yeah, my reading right now consists of some academic texts that I don't have to, but I'm boning up before I start my new job on the 19th. So
that and video game articles.
Articles, yeah, and trying to stay away from the stuff that triggers me on Facebook. And our friends out there will know exactly what I'm talking about. So what does he say? I've been doing the library reading challenge, which has been doing the library reading challenge, which has been keeping me reading a lot lately. That's fantastic.
What is that challenge?
So, what is that challenge, by the way? I know of another one that our other family member here takes part in. And she keeps a list online of like how many books she's going to read, and like challenges herself to do that every quarter. We'll have to look that up. I guess I was waiting to see if he was going to respond with that or not. So, no big deal. It's all right. Here we go. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to put on the glasses because reading this text is a little difficult here. The library does it for kids, usually in the summer, but they started doing it for adults. You get credit for hours and then raffle tickets. Oh, I think we saw that where you sign up.
Yeah, it's like the ones that I used to do back in middle school.
Yeah.
Where if you read a certain number of books, then you get a free pizza, something like that.
Yeah. Almost like a pledge or something, and you say, I'm going to read these books, or here are the books I want to read for this year. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Also, just a quick heads up, if you're trying to send links in the chat, I think the automod on the stream does delete them. So...
yeah, that's just for our benefit too, like in case people put nefarious links in there. We don't want to get kicked or banned off of Twitch because there's, questionable content there. So,
pizza, tickets to farms or fairs.
It's all good. Maybe I'll update the Twitch page with that and put it in our FAQ or something, or we'll put it in here for the
chat rules.
The chat rules, which I believe should have popped up for those of you who joined in and are chatting. I I think those are supposed to auto-populate.
Yeah, they do.
Did you see them? Because I didn't see
Yeah,
them on
I
the
did.
side. Maybe I missed them as they shot by. So.
You are the channel, so they don't show for you.
Oh, okay. All right. So again, first Twitch stream, and I don't know OBS quite like the back of my hand yet, but I'll get there certainly. Another thing too is if you know, as you're watching this, for anybody who's following us or anybody who's watching, whether it's the VOD, the video on demand, or the live stream, if there's stuff that you would like to see us talk about, you know, in future episodes,
Yeah.
by all means, drop us a line. We don't have a Discord server set up, but I'll try to I'll try to find a place, you know, that will be. You could do it on the Facebook page. You could probably tweet us.
Or after the stream, we could just get a Discord set up.
Yeah, that's true. After the stream, maybe we'll do that.
Yeah.
You know, but if you're gonna follow us on Twitter, we're at tavern_black. It's a little bit of a reverse on the name, just because, like, you know, everybody's got every name under the sun out there. So at tavern_black. Or you can follow us on Instagram at Black Dragon Tavern Online, or on Facebook at just Black Dragon Tavern.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the people here did see it on Facebook, because that is where we did the most promotion for this. But,
Yep.
Make sure to follow us, and please, if you like the stream so far, follow us on Twitch. It'll help out a ton. So
yeah. So we're going to take a little break here. We're going to take about a 15-minute break. Maybe we'll come back in 10 minutes. Again, we're just going to switch over to the workbench. You know, we'll take a little break for a little drink here, and probably go relieve ourselves. Not that you needed to know that, but hey, TMI. We're humans. Yeah, TMI. And then we're going to be back right about 9 o'clock. So we hope you'll join us from the workbench, and we'll talk about the projects that we're going to work on over there. And I just realized all this time I'm looking at myself instead of looking at the camera. So hopefully that's not a big deal. I mean, looking up at the camera is kind of a little weird because it's the way the camera's positioned here. But
that's a fun idea. Work on some minis. Maybe it'll get you motivated to finally finish those stormtroopers.
Yeah, so we're talking to you. I'm not going to call you out by name, but you know who you are. So we'll see you in 15 or less. Stay tuned.
Screen.
Hi everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to the Black Dragon Tavern with your hosts.
I'm Deacon again.
And I'm Dante. And we're gonna do a little segment here from the workbench. I can't even see myself. I'm trying to monitor the thing here. But where am I? Oh, there's a little bit of a delay. Okay, I see. So we're live from the workbench, and well, not a whole lot to explain. Here's where we do all of our painting and kit bashing and model building and all the fun stuff where the magic happens for the games that we play, or the games that require miniatures anyway. So tonight I'm going to be working on building this fawn warband. And I haven't even opened this box yet. I'm so excited. This is by a company called RGD Gaming. Got this at my my FLGS, thanks to Lee for pointing this out.
Yeah.
I was in desperate need of some satyrs to bolster up my fantasy RPG miniatures. So that's what I'll be doing. What are you going to be working on tonight, Deacon?
Let's see. I've got a couple things. They're mostly the Black Library Celebration models. I'm not sure where the focus is on this, but I've got Captain Uriel Ventress of the Ultramarines, and then the Gaunt's Ghosts miniatures from the novel series. So, gonna be working on those, finally getting some paint down on them. Pretty excited.
That's cool. I just wish I would have had a chance to prime some of that other stuff that I was going to do last week, and then everything went south with the weather, so...
Yeah.
Oh well. We got a long summer ahead of us, so... Alright. So again, the format here is pretty loose. We're not going to, we'll keep an eye on chat. Says my bro is watching but can't chat. That's fine. Hi, Aaron.
Hello.
If you're out there watching, good to have you join. And D Minecrafter, like I'll hit you up later to see your comfort level with me mentioning you by name. You may not, and that's fine. But it just makes me happy to have friends that are out there watching. So, but again, the loose format here. Don't really have any dialogue or script to stick to. And it's mostly us just screwing off and kit bashing and building stuff. So there's that. Oh, this is really cool.
Oh, that's a lot in that box.
No instructions. Yeah, there's
Well, the instructions. Yeah.
So the funny thing about this is, I'm gonna hold this up here. In our world of information overload and too many things to take in, I picked this up. I saw the pictures, and what are the other ones? Centaurs. I saw the Centaur warband box, and I really thought it looked really cool. And I thought, I'll bet that would be cool on my tabletop in my fantasy game. But what I really want are satyrs. And then I saw this fawn warband box. So I picked it up, I held it in my hand, and from the angle that you're on, you can't see this, but basically it was like this. So here I'm holding this box in my hand, and I'm focused on the three miniatures on the front, and most of the time what you see is what you get. So I said, this is really cool, and three, that's probably enough. That's awfully big box for three of them. I wonder what the price is on this. And I flipped over to the price, and it said $29.95, and I thought, wow, that's a little expensive for three miniatures. And it wasn't until I got up to the counter, when I put it down, I realized it was 24 miniatures. So, and actually it wasn't until our friend Lee at our local game store here pointed out, it's like, it's such a good deal for 24 minis. And I was like, yeah, 24 minis, right. Yeah, that's a great price. So that was kind of funny. But at least this way, I get a whole bunch of stuff to choose from and build.
Totally.
And apparently
there is a ton of parts in there.
There are a ton of parts, all sorts of weapons and all sorts of things. It's really interesting. Look at these sprues, like these pieces. I don't know if it's just me; they look tiny. But I guess we'll see. Like there, so there are the legs for one of them. I don't know how well that's going to come into focus, but
not well.
That's kind of what we're dealing with here. So, I guess I'm just going to have at it here. Put on my handy magnifiers. Thanks to my bestie for recommending these. Eldritch Nerdo. Greetings, adventurers. Greetings to you as well. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, how's it going?
Let's see. What do we have here? Wow, you know what I just realized? So this is actually a satyr sprue. That's kind of cool.
So if you ever need to focus anything on the camera, you can hold your hand up behind it to block out whatever
is in the background?
Yeah, and that'll make it focus just on, well, whatever you're holding up.
That's good to know. Wow, so this is going to be a little overwhelming trying to decide what I want to do here. So many torsos to choose from and weapons and that. And the weapons are really cool.
What do they have?
Well, they've got, looks like scimitars, their standard bows and arrows, javelins. Looks like there are two different types. You've got like broad-headed spears and javelins. I think the javelins are the slicker or slimmer spears here. Then you've got, it looks like a two-handed axe.
That's pretty cool.
And the carving on it's kind of cool. It's almost like a Klingon axe. Then they've got, I don't know if adze is the right term I'm thinking of. It's like a club. I don't know if you can see that right there.
I don't know if that's the right word you're thinking of either.
Yeah, it's not quite a warhammer, but... Oh, nice. This arm has a horn it's holding in it.
Like a drinking horn or a signal?
Yes. like a horn for trumpeting. But, I imagine it could be a drinking horn. This also looks like it's going to be a little fiddly in terms of snipping these out and gluing them together.
Yeah. You might want to use an X-Acto for cutting them out of there.
Yeah, maybe so. The heads are fantastic. Some of them have very long, curling horns. Some of these look like they could come right out of Diablo. It's kind of funny. I'm going to hand this over to you. Take a look at the top row.
Well, those are cool.
Yeah.
I like the
I
one that
wish
has
I
a
could.
mohawk.
I wish I could get a really good. Let's see. Try that. I don't know how that's going to show up in the camera.
You need the light to be more in front of it.
Yeah.
But
this is a pretty cool kit. The one thing I don't think it has that I didn't see in here are bases.
It doesn't?
No.
Well, you do have a whole stash.
Oh, good lord, I know. Just go with the standard 25 squares. Just made a pig's dinner out of that. Spilled half the bases over here. It's alright, I'll deal with that later. Oh, okay. So I knew who D Minecrafter was, but
Yep.
Again, thanks for joining, Chris. It's awesome to see that you're able to pop on. maybe this summer we can get you to prime up some of those Star Wars minis. You could come. You could join us on the stream. You could be like a guest painter. That's what I was asking myself. How could you possibly miss that? Uh-oh. We have, I don't know if we went to...
That's just you.
Okay. I'm monitoring the stream here on the side, and it looks like mine just rebooted, so I was a little worried at first that might have been the actual stream itself. But I don't think that's the case. I don't know if that's a internet connection issue with the phone or an internet connection issue with the stream itself.
Just the phone, I think. Because mine was fine.
Okay. But of course I lost my whole chat window now, so that sucks. So is this for your Crusade army that you're working on?
This is one of their Black Library Celebration models. So this guy, he had a couple novels about him, and they were pretty good from what I remember. Recently they've been making a whole lot of minis based on book characters that they've had.
Okay.
So
a lot of that Dan Abnett stuff you're reading?
Yeah, and all of the other authors too, because there are a lot of them.
Alright, let's see how the glue takes to this plastic. Resin, polymer.
So this guy is captain of the 4th Company.
That's a little questionable there, yeah. That's what I thought.
Is it not sticking well?
Well, this is a very hard plastic. So the way, the angle that some of the feet are on, or the hooves, I should say, they're not making full contact with the bases.
Ah. Yeah. Hey, you could use tiny bits of cork.
That's true. Then I have to put a significant amount of work into that, and I'm not really sure if I want to do that.
Well, I've got bits already cut up.
Let's see. That's going to come right off there, isn't it? Yep. Yeah, let's go with that one. That looks cool. My big thing that I'm super looking forward to is starting up the RPG again.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
I miss everybody. I miss running that.
I miss just having people over to game at all.
Yeah. Oh, we almost had a sacrifice for the blood god there for a moment.
Ooh.
This thing is so dull, though. Anybody in the chat over there on your side?
Not really.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if my phone didn't reset or not.
Oh, chat's been kind of empty.
No pressure. Not that you need the chat, but just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything in case anybody was trying to get through there. You know, the thing with this, excuse me, is I kind of feel like I should pin these because the torsos are pretty clean cut in half. You know, but the other part of me is like, is it worth it?
I don't think it's... Yeah, blood sacrifices are always required. You got that one right. I don't think you need to pin that because... And if you give me a second, I will go grab one to show you.
Well, I guess it depends on how well this glue is going to hold, because that's going to be the big determining factor.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Because you got that industrial, will melt.
Well, I don't use that often because it stinks and it makes the whole game room smell like chemicals, which really sucks. So if you give me a second, I will go and grab one of these minis that I was talking about.
Okay. Issue number 2. The mold lines on these, or the cut lines where they've separated the pieces, aren't.
Are they bad?
They're not the cleanest. So where it might line up in the front, in the back, you've got a big gap.
That's annoying.
Yeah.
So all of these guys, these catechins that I've been working on, they are all done in the same way. Heads, arms, and weapons are separate from the body, but the torso is cut in half.
Okay.
So it's...
That's what he's talking about. 40K catechin.
So it's just a straight cutoff, like those satyrs.
Yeah, and these are going to take a while to dry too, even with this glue.
Also, this is
has historically worked really well.
This is a lovely green. Look at that.
You know what it looks like? For a minute, I thought it was green stuff. I'm like, did you sculpt that on there?
Yeah, that's kind of why I like it. It's
impressive.
Cool color. Yeah, impressive.
Impressive. Most impressive.
So, I'm not sure.
Hey,
really.
It's the first geek movie one-liner of the night.
No, that's not really working. That sucks. Can't really get a good view of it, but there's this really nice green and blue combination on the back of here that just refuses to be picked up on camera.
Alright, I'm going to leave that sit for a minute.
Gold. Yeah, I did see the Kill Team teaser. It is so cool. I'm really looking forward to the plastic deathcore. I think I'm actually going to pick up a kit of that if I can find them separate from the rest of the box. Or I might just find somebody to split the box with.
I swore a blood oath that I would not get into 40K. This one got me into 41K. Or 41K. This one got me into 40K. Primarily because the box had Ultramarines and Death Guard. So I said, okay, well, I'll run Death Guard. And then that was it. Like, that became the moment that I broke the seal and unleashed all the hounds of hell. But I got to tell you, both Deacon and I have been talking about the orcs, the new orcs that are out, and they're pretty cool. Just saying.
The fantasy ones, though, right?
Well,
is that what you're talking about?
The Cruel Boys.
Yeah.
They're all cool. I love orcs. I love orcs and goblins.
They are all very cool.
And I'm really lucky that I had an opportunity to pick up some old school 1980s and 1990s goblin sculpts. I think they were Kev Adams, or what was his name? Bob Ollie.
Those names mean nothing to me.
It's unmistakable style, though. When you see them, you'll recognize them. I know that's not a triple head, like a triple face, but this almost looks like Cerberus, the way it's sculpted.
Yeah, the ears or whatever those are.
Yeah.
That was my first thought, too. That, yeah, it looks like there's faces on the side.
Oops.
Oh, I've actually got a friend who runs a deathcore army. I feel so sorry for him having to pay that much for those, but it is so cool to see a whole army of them. They really do look awesome on the tabletop.
Did he get them painted up finally?
He is still working on that.
I'd love to see that. Because he reminds me of the type of person that would really put the detail into him.
Yeah.
Boy, these are just not going to stay down on this base.
No? That
No.
sucks. Yeah, the Cruel Boys do look very neat. Those are the
Very
ones.
sneaky and cunning.
Those are the ones in that new Dominion box, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are awesome.
This could be a very short session if this continues to be this frustrating. It's just so fiddly. It's like I haven't had to. Yep. Shit. I need. And it's off the base again. It's a challenge, right? Let's see. Yeah, I think pinning these would not be worth the time.
Yeah.
Because there's so many that you'd have to pin, so many pieces.
Yep. And by the time you've done, you've pinned them all, it's just, there's your energy gone.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, this, the placement of the yeah. Well, initial impressions so far.
Good sculpts, bad
Good sculpts,
material.
bad execution of how these were cast.
What do you mean? Like,
so like
bad,
attaching the head to the body, there's no clear visible point. There's a stump where that looks like the neck, but underneath the head, there's no clear point where it's supposed to make contact.
That's annoying.
Because it goes into the back of this helmet thing or whatever, hair. That and the glue doesn't seem to be doing all that well with this plastic.
I find that weird.
If you give it, I mean, okay, now the torso feels really solid. So maybe it just needs to sit for a little while. Maybe I need some of that, what's it called, Zap-A-Gap accelerator or whatever.
You know what you could use?
But this base, though, it's not doing me any favors. Let me see, you got a piece of cork out there?
Hold on. Doing some very fine science. Can you hand me a toothpick or a popsicle stick?
Yeah, you want a big craft stick? Or
No, just
one?
like a for mixing.
Is this good?
Yeah, that'll work great.
Okay.
That's looking better a bit. Cork, you said?
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I'd appreciate it.
Let me find some first.
See, so my concern is that, like, if I keep putting super glue on this, it's going to gum
Dig
up
through
the
there.
plastic.
There is cork around the bottom of that. See the tiny chunks?
Yeah.
If those are too big, you can always break them down.
That's actually kind of cool. Yep, I think that's what I'm going to do.
That should be enough.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. You can just keep that if you want. Keep that tub over there if you're doing all of them.
Oh, she dropped.
Oh, that is so much better. Trying to revitalize this old pot of paint here.
Yeah.
So much nicer than it was. Now I just have to shake the hell out of it.
You know, you could use the paint shaker.
I don't want to use that. It's going to be too loud.
Everybody on this stream would go deaf. Considering it's sitting right next to the mic.
Yep.
Oh, you still have that stuff from Nick, huh?
Yeah.
Excellent.
I kept the bottle of water effects too.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
I have been using that a whole lot more than I thought I would, surprisingly.
Yeah, all the little pebbles and everything are really kind of cool. It makes it so much nicer to have that kind of stuff to work with.
But I mean, the water effects specifically, I didn't think I would use that much. I mean, I figured I'd have a use from like here to there and then not really touch them outside of that, but they have been really useful.
This is going to be dodgy.
Well, the cork will... I have used the cork before, and that'll get glued down. If you're using crazy glue, that'll stick on like...
Oh yeah, I'm not worried about that. It's the mini itself. No. Yeah, I want that horn. If I can just get a couple of good minis out of this, that would be fantastic.
I mean, there is a couple in there, at least like 20, from what I remember.
Yeah, that's not really what I was getting at, but thank you.
Oh.
I guess what I'm getting at is if I can manage to put together a couple of really good sculpts. I'm flipping my phone over here.
Okay.
Set that right there.
Let's see.
Do you know,
Oh, you're doing it like that.
Yeah, what were you talking about doing?
I wasn't sure how the feet on there were. I'm used to a lot of stuff like this, where they've got 1 foot off of the ground, and that can be hard to glue. So I was thinking they were like that.
Well, no.
So I kind of meant like you could put a little bit of cork under the foot.
The hooves are flat. They're just so tiny. Here, let me show you. Take a look at the legs there. And there's not a lot of contact points. And if they were both like this,
yeah, I see.
but one of them's kind of like this, like raised up a bit. Yeah.
That is annoying.
And they're right where the mold lines are, the sprues are where they're connected to the sprues is where you have to cut. So if you even shave it on an angle, you're kind of hosed.
Yep. Okay, that's pretty annoying.
Yeah, and if it's going to be that way for everything, it's just going to... So one cool thing, and I didn't notice if he's on tonight, is Deacon and I are in a game. We're in a Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay game run by an excellent guy named Jason. And that's been really fun. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, it has been. We're doing some fun stuff, killing cultists, all of the cool Warhammer things.
I haven't played that in ages, so this is kind of really nice to get back into that. Sadly, I can't remember the name of the module we're doing. It's a big book.
It's like Enemy Within or something like that.
Yeah, maybe the Enemy Within or something like that. And we play that every other Sunday. Oh, here's another one of those things where I'm going to glue this and my finger's going to get stuck to the mini.
Mm-hmm.
You're like... Okay. That piece is decent and flat. I'm going to wind up having to change this blade, providing I have any more.
I think you do.
So for any hobbyists that are on the stream that are watching this, what's your go-to super glue? What's your go-to glue for working with models and miniatures?
Ah, that is Jason.
It is Jason. That's a good way to call him out. As you make your way from Altdorf and search for answers regarding strange dreams in the night. I don't doubt it. I think I took. I think I did take. Oh God, I keep wanting to say sanity points, but I'm thinking of Cthulhu. Corruption, I think it was. Yeah, for anybody that's watching this, if you've ever had any interest in playing the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay RPG, do it. It's really cool. It's gritty, yep. And it's not D&D. It's you like you're poor. You're using crap equipment until you can make a little bit of coin,
which is never.
Which is far and few in between. And it really puts you to the test in terms of like using your skills and using your head. But
yep,
most enjoyable.
Gorilla Glue Gel. I've not used that with models before. We've been using Crazy Glue. I just started using the I don't know what you'd call it, like the pen tip variety more. More than the brush variety, that is, but nice throw.
Thank you. It's not like we don't get enough practice doing that.
Yep. Fine steel scavenge.
Oh, every time I pick this sprue up now, I keep popping off a different piece. That's funny. Now, Gorilla Glue, I've used the Gorilla Glue, the wood glue, and that is fantastic. What do you need?
One of those popsicle sticks.
Yeah. Toothpicks are up on the microwave, so if you need those, we should bring those over to the bench. I like
these better, because better for mixing.
But I've used the... I haven't used the gel like Deacon said, but I've used the wood glue. That's really fantastic stuff. This stuff is so expensive for like such a teeny tiny amount.
Yep.
Jason says, "Fine, steal, scavenge."
Oh, it's Gorilla Super Glue.
That's what we're trying. Every time we leave a body pile behind.
Yep. I didn't know Gorilla Glue made super glue. I thought they just made like wood glue, like he said. I've also never really used it, so.
I'm gonna give her a spear, I think.
That sucks.
Yeah. Boy, this is so slow going, but I think once I get this down, once I find my pace here, this will be alright. These are some cool miniatures.
They looked cool from the box at the very least.
Yeah, that's the demo model.
Yeah.
If you're an IT geek, you get that joke.
Well, if the actual models don't look as good, you could always cut out the ones on the front of the box and put those on the table.
Yeah, cut them out like paper stand-ups. The joke was Bill Gates he dies and he goes to hell, and he tells the devil, "Well, I'd really kind of like to see what you got going on here." He said, "The reason." He said, "The reason I'll let you see what we got going on here is like you've been a pretty good person. You've donated to the world. You've contributed. You've done all these great things with your money, and you've changed the world by the technology that you've helped develop for. So you get your choice. You can go to heaven or hell." So he goes to hell, or he goes to heaven. Actually, I'm blowing this whole joke. He goes to heaven and he sees what it's like, and everybody's like chilling, and it's all calm, and angels are hanging on clouds, playing their lutes and harpsichords or whatever it is. And kind of boring for a guy like him. He's exciting and adventurous. There's not a lot going on. Everybody's happy. Everybody's peaceful. He goes, "Well, okay, I've seen what this is like. Let me go check out hell and see what's going on." So he goes to hell, and they welcome him, and they have a big banner, "Welcome Bill Gates," and they throw in a big party, right? And everybody's like surfing they're like skiing on the lake of hell, right? And they're eating pizza and drinking beer and cooking out, and they got loud music playing. And he's like, "Man, this is awesome. This is like so much more fun than upstairs, So maybe I'll come down here." So he said, the devil asks him, "Is that your final choice?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll just stick around here for eternity." He goes, "Great." Devil snaps his fingers, and all of a sudden, like, there are the tortured moans and screams of all the damned and the suffering, and the heat goes up immensely, right? And he's roasting now, and he's like, what the, this isn't what I signed up for. He goes, "What about all that other stuff you showed me?" He goes, "Oh, that's the demo model." I'm sorry, all that for like a tiny payoff. I wonder, let's see, how much flexibility do I have here? Whoops. Alright, that's not terrible. Wow, I do find this a little...
Man, I always hate painting white. It is so annoying, and it always comes out chalky, no matter what I've tried. I don't get how people can paint, like, clones or stormtroopers or anything like that.
Well,
suppose if you spray paint it white in the first place, that'd make it a whole lot easier.
Right, I was going to say, doesn't it kind of go back to, like, start with your prime coat, start with the very first thing in white.
Yeah.
That, if anything, to me is a no-brainer. It's like if there was, see, the whole thing is like, okay, when I first started painting, like 41 years ago or whatever, you used enamels, and it was a lot different than acrylic. You used the old Testors enamels, and they were really thick, and you needed thinner. You needed like actual turpentine type of thinner to clean your brushes and whatnot. Otherwise, they turn hard as a brick. And I was 12, and I didn't know you were supposed to prime, so I'm painting right on metal, you know. And they were gloss colors, so they all looked nasty. I still have the first miniatures that I painted, you know, but and then somebody told me, well, prime them. And I'm like, okay, well, how do I do that? And they go, well, you spray paint them with auto primer. So I think I got like gray auto primer because that's what the local hardware store had. And it's okay because gray is neutral. And, you know, because it's a neutral color, like everything is supposed to come out good. But the pigments, the formulation of the paint itself, depending on like what they're using, zinc white, titanium white, how fine the pigments are ground, what the binder is, and what the vehicle is that carries the pigment in the binder. It'll go on smooth and it'll like leave a coat, or else it's going to go on streaky, and you won't get a good result. So that's why I like, you know, starting with a white primer. And I didn't use white primers for a long time. I used black and gray because I like that old GW, like, you know, blackout kind of look.
Yeah. So as far as what you said, Jason, that is pretty close to what I'd do. I'd start with the contrast paints. Those are really nice. I've been using the Black Templars. I have it around here somewhere. Yeah. This contrast Black Templar. I've been using that for my Black Templars. But yeah, I used to do Army Painter's Stone Golem as a base, and then highlight with White Scar, which worked out really well, but I ran out of Stone Golem and I haven't had a chance to pick any more up yet, so...
Yeah, you seeing that, Chris?
Oh, Griffin's on now.
Hi, Griffin. Hi, buddy. How's it going? I'll take these off so you can see me. Hope you're doing well. But see, there you go, Chris. Look at the chat if you're there, if you still have it up. Our GM Jason just gave some tips. He's supposed to be in bed. Naughty monkey. I'm fiddling with this spear, and I haven't glued it yet because I can't quite decide how I want it. The pose that I want isn't going to happen.
No?
No, because it looks too weird if I do it that way. Because of the way she's holding the horn. I guess I'll angle it down a little bit. Okay. Done. Getting killed here by indecision. And it's not like I can't do this over again with a different one.
See, that's where I would hate doing those, because you do all the work to get a good coat of white down on the base, and then you shade it using the contrast, and then when you start painting in the black details, if you go over and you mess up one area, you know.
Well, you know, another thing too is I guess like, and Chris, I know you probably do this, but I think a lot of it.
Doing the black first.
What's that?
I was reading his message.
You know, deciding up front, sort of like, do I just want to do tabletop for these? Do I want to do the bare minimum to get them playable on the table? I mean, it's your game. They don't have to be painted. It's not like you're doing, you know, tournament like a Warhammer tournament where they require you, a GW tournament where they require models to be painted or whatever. But you could fall back on those old standards of like tabletop quality. I don't even know what people call them nowadays. You know, there's one up from that. But production lining is really the thing, and it can get tedious. I know that, and that's why you don't paint armies. That's Chris's famous line is, "That's why I don't paint armies." Um, but I've like watched Deacon knock out some poxwalkers, and he had a pretty good technique for it. And you still come out at the end with an end product that looks really good. It's got all the basics there. It even has washes. It even has some dry brushing in some cases, maybe some highlighting if he's really getting into it. But you can do like 2-3 steps and speed paint it. And I've seen them done that way, and they look pretty good.
It's all in the washes.
Way around it is to paint the white with contrast paint. Yeah, then do a gloss varnish.
Yep.
Then blackings. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay. So all that to assemble.
Put your hands behind it because it's not picking
Well, I'll try. I'll do this. I'll put
No,
this
right.
paper towel. I don't know how well they can see that, but
Very.
it's okay. We knew the cameras weren't going to pick up that much detail. Oh, Jesus.
Ooh. Might not want to open that
It's all
for a
good.
while.
Yeah. Or
That's-
not.
Yeah. That's why I said you might want to wait.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all good.
You need another napkin?
I'm just really stuffed up and yeah, that'd be great.
There you go.
Better that than a bottle of gnome oil.
Yeah.
Well, we've got that out
Yeah.
of the way.
You can also use a
Live
couple...
stream accident number 1.
Yeah.
Would you pitch that for me, please? Thanks.
You can also use a couple different, or not a couple different, you can use multiple layers of a black wash to get those black areas done first. So like, if you use the white contrast paint to paint the armor, you could go over with the black contrast paint and just paint it over the grooves in the armor, and that would get it done like right away. Pretty fast too. I think it'd be a good way to do that.
So, it looks like there are left in the front, 2 poses. One is what I would call an action pose, like she's in, left leg leading, and then the other one is just sort of like at attention, more or less. Maybe not so much at attention, but it's not so drastic.
So is she like the leader?
Well, I don't know. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like when I was building it, I kind of like
do. I know it's a pain in the ass, but you should try to do the other ones on the base. Without cork.
Yeah.
Because that would look pretty cool. Like she's up in the front. She's got the horn that she's blowing into.
Yeah.
And she's up on like a big rock or whatever.
Yeah.
So, all good leaders have to stand on a big rock.
I was going to give her a javelin, but the difference between that and this broadhead spear, I like this better. The javelin's pretty cool. They're deadly. They're lethal, but it just didn't have enough character, I think. That, and I don't know if it comes for the left arm, if they have one for the left arm. This one is... Oh, yeah, they do, actually. I mean, it's not terrible. See the difference between the 2 spears and the javelins?
I don't know. I actually like the javelins more. There's more texture on it. Like, on the handle of it.
They are cool in retrospect, I think. I like the little, what you call it? It's almost like a pommel.
Yeah.
On the end of it. That's cool. Alright, let me cut these other legs off.
It's a cool kit.
Yeah, not bad. I just got to get over like the fiddliness of cutting it all out.
Yeah.
And maybe someday, if we make it through this Delta variant and I get the RPG going again, maybe we can entice Jason to come play.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. Or Chris. I've been trying for years to get Chris over here. He knows it. He was probably counting down how long is it going to be till Ephraim tries to get me, tries to entice me to come game. But we're always looking for people, good people at the table. I mean, what's the point in having all the cool toys if you don't get to use them?
Yep. Which RPG? You want to explain?
Sure. So I mentioned this earlier in the beginning of the stream. Somebody had asked like, what are our favorite games to play, our favorite board games, and we Deacon and I both did a little bit of an introduction and talked a little bit about what we like, what we do. I've been running a homebrew RPG, not the same one. It's become a hybrid, but I've been running one for 41 years now, a Game World. So it's really well developed, really mature game world. And the game that I run, it's called Dante's Game, and the folks here in Wisconsin sort of gave it that name because that's what they knew me as when I first moved here. But it's a fantasy RPG that the foundations of it are primarily an old system called Arcanum by Bard Games. Came out, I think, in '82. And it was a standalone system, standalone fantasy RPG that had its own folklore and everything. But it was also adaptable to all the current contemporary RPGs of its time. So you could adapt it to second edition D&D. First edition might be a little tough, but you could probably do it. Any of the Palladium RPG foundations, you could adapt it to that, and you get the idea. So that's the core. That's what influenced it the most. Is this system called Arcanum? It also has flavors of old school D&D, like original. I guess that's what do they call it? OSR.
AD&D.
No,
Well,
D&D,
yeah.
like the first edition D&D and the second edition. But then it has all this other weird stuff thrown in there. Like there was a Vietnam era game called Morrow Project, so there were some mechanics from that. There was a little bit of Boot Hill in there. There's a little bit of Gamma World,
Warhammer Crit Tables,
Warhammer Fantasy RPG. There's some flavorings from there, especially the crit tables we use for critical hits. So it's been sort of like cherry picked over the last 3 or 4 decades, for the best of the best that's out there, and it makes for it's a little crunchy. You're probably you can probably pick that out just by the description. So it's a little crunchier than a lot of systems, but I've gotten to the point now where I run it practically without even looking at anything, and it's mostly about having fun. That's the primary thing. There are mechanics, there are rules. So if you're the type that needs boundaries or confinements or definitions to do things like restrictions or guidelines, there's definitely a foundation there for that. But I've run it at conventions, I've run it at local game stores, and I've even done surveys because at one point somebody was asking me, why aren't you doing this professionally? Why aren't you doing this at Gen Con? Why aren't you, this is like one of the best games I've ever played. And it's not just this, it's not the system, it's really the world that I've built. So, there are like seven different continents you can go to an adventure on, and they're all really well fleshed out. Doesn't mean they're all fully explored, so there's always something to do, but it's the type of thing where like if you like D&D, it's probably your cup of tea. If you like Warhammer Fantasy, it's probably your cup of tea, and the one thing is I call it, and I was doing this like before D&D started getting into this with the newer versions, but the players really, the players drive the storylines. So I paint a landscape, I paint a portrait, and I say this is the world, go play in it. And everything they do, every action, everything they do leaves a mark, positive or negative. and it creates a ripple. So, and I keep copious notes so that later on, if they happen to go back to a town where they're stirring up shit, it's going to come back on them. It could, depending on what other events are going on. So, I mean, it's a at its heart, it's a classic. I guess would you call it like low fantasy or low magic?
No, because there is a lot of magic in there.
Well, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it wouldn't be like super high magic though. It's not
It's just high fantasy.
yeah, it's high fantasy, and I've got a class in there called Mecha Magicians. So they're like almost like steampunk. They're an engineering and mechanics background, and then they imbue their creations with magic and that. And so that came aboard like I don't know 20 years ago or whatever. So anyway, I'm babbling on about that, but yeah, definitely like next time when we get that running, my hope was towards I don't know maybe sometime in August, providing everything's safe environment wise to have people over. Um, you know, uh, I don't know where I was going with that, but it's like awkward point number two for me of the stream, but that's not bad if that's the track record so far. So, but yeah, definitely when we get that running, I'll let you know, Jason. And if you want to come, if you want to check it out, sit in and just watch for a session or two, that's cool. We'd like that. And then, like again, maybe I could get Chris over here. All right, let's see.
Also, it is 10, surprisingly.
Is it 10 already?
Yeah, that went fast.
Oh my goodness, it sure did. Well, we could either keep going or we could end it here. It's up to you. I don't really care either way. Just cap it now?
Let me take a look.
Okay. Deacon's just gonna go check the mothership that's running the whole show and see what the hard drive space looks like and whether or not we're gonna be able to, get all this recorded and all that. So, and we did say 8 to 10, so we may cap it here and then. But we'll be back tomorrow either way, between 8 and 10 p.m. Central. So if you drop out now, and you want to check us out tomorrow, join in. Like I said, we'll be doing some streaming from the game table, the battle zone. So we'll do the first segment, fireside chat, probably do a recap of what we talked about tonight, and do a little post-mortem and see how that went, and then do a game of zombies from there. Yeah. How's it looking over there?
About the same, really.
Well, I mean, like, is everything running? It's not freezing up?
Yeah, no, okay. It's we good.
All right, what do you think?
Maybe cap it here.
Okay.
If I can.
Well, I'll wait till you're back and we'll wrap up. Deacon's just coming back over to the workbench.
All right.
You all done for the night? All right. Yeah. So, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for your support. Much. Thanks for joining us. I don't know if that's in my face or not, but
try to sink down in my chair here.
He's sinking in to get his face in the camera. But thanks for joining us. This was fun. It was a little easier than I thought to fill up this space of time.
Yeah.
Hopefully we didn't babble too much. I guess that's kind of part of it, and we'll get a lot more comfortable with this. So, Chris says, I almost got a small unit of Imperials trim. Thanks for the invite and the fun. Great. Yeah, thanks Chris. Thanks for joining. And thanks, Jason, and anybody else who's out there who's just lurking. Before we go, don't forget to hit that follow button. We super appreciate that. And again, we'll be back tomorrow night between 8 and 10 Central. So if you've got some time to kill, you just want to pop in and check things out. If you want to skip the first part of it because you've seen Fireside Chat, join in about 9 or so, and then we'll be playing a game of zombies.
Yeah.
And other than that, I'll put the schedule up on the Twitter stream, and that's it. So have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night.
Thanks.